before y'all get into a back and forth, 1 second. I want to hear from Gail and Zaria and Miss Tanique. Gail, go ahead and touch on anything that you want to address that you've heard uh here since the last time you talked. Go ahead, Gail.
Um, Regarding what Shameless said with that the percentage of women who would want, an average guy or a guy that's inexperienced, I do agree with her, yes. But for the majority of women, and I'm not talking about, I know Tamo, I think she is married, correct?
She
And
divorced.
oh, okay. Yeah, Ideal, you say you are Shameless, you said you're staying absent. And EXO, I'm not sure, I haven't heard you speak yet, but
She's single and
the
mingling.
majority of women are don't approach things like you three women do. They don't approach it with logic. Um, so the majority of women will not pick a guy making $40,000 a year. So just a little background on me. My husband, when we met, he was making that much. And that is something that I was raised. So I'm originally from Guyana, South America. So the men down there, like a good man, makes about 900 USD a month. And the women there are brought up, to be wives to a man making that much. So my husband, when I met him, he wasn't making that much. However, I had to be realistic as well. We are now a family of five, um, hopefully six or seven in the future. I can't say I love you so much. $40,000 is enough. So I am a stay-at-home mom. He does need to, or not need to, but he does aspire to make more and he's working on that. But a lot of women don't want to make it work, don't want to go through the mud. And I'm not talking about the ladies on the panel because you all seem, like logical women. I'm talking about the majority of women in our society right now. They want to wait at the finish line and pick the winner.
Gail,
We
your
don't have
husband is a
women that
lucky
want
man.
to make it work. I am willing to be a stay-at-home mom and give my man everything on his way to there because who's going to reap the rewards in the end? Me,
You.
Bam.
me. So there is actually a woman I follow, and you guys might have heard of her, Layla Milani. Her husband, Manny Koshbin, he worked at a tire store. They met, and she was like, I don't know if this is going to work, but let's try it out. She has been with that man for about 15 years now. He's worth now $100 million. She is in Birkins, she's in Rolls Royces, and I'm like, girl, you know what? You deserve it. You wear that Birkin. She was there
Absolutely.
since day one. So I
Yes.
know the women on the panel, you guys probably would pick a man, but for majority of women in the US, they want the man after the Rolls Royce. They want
Yeah.
Birkin money tomorrow, not in
Yeah.
Yeah.
10 years.
And they
So
don't
that is
think
all I
Gail,
have
about
to
the
can
say
I
about
say,
that.
relationship is
Gail,
different when you grow with that person and he's made that money. When you grow, like, let's think about it, Barack Obama and his wife, the way their relationship is compared to Donald Trump and his wife. You see the difference in Donald Trump had the money already. Barack built with his wife. Most women want it afterwards, but when you build with it, it becomes a different relationship, a different narrative, a whole
but
it is just it's a
but
whole lot better than trying to
but I
find a
have
man that
actually,
already does make that.
but I actually have proof. Like my longest relation, which was 10 years ago, he was a blue collar person. He was in pest control, and he was making minimum wage. And when we left, before the relationship ended, through our time together, he now made $40,000, but that was in 2010. So I'm assuming it's probably 60K now. And he had four children from the same woman. They had like a common law situation, and I helped him get custody of his kids. So I'm not just talking that talk that hypothetically I would work. So for me, what I enjoyed about that relationship, even though we didn't work out, was that he was a great compliment to my personality. I'm very ambitious, and I want a hard working man, but I don't want an ambitious man. And so he was very supportive, and he had a great like psychological mind, very like like a counselor's prototype. And so my successful relationships that were long and healthy, we didn't curse at each other. I didn't have any of that like rah nonsense that you see on social media. I know that's what works for me. And majority of the women, black, white, all different ethnicities, these women are leaders, and they have men that dote on them. And these men are supportive people. They're smart, but they don't desire to be number one. And they own multiple properties through their union of marriage. So when you get together, it really doesn't matter who has more because you're one, depending on how you see marriage. So I'm not just talking about hypotheticals. When I say stuff is because I practice it. So in my sphere, it's not just me. And so it's unfortunate that we want to talk about the majority, and sometimes I feel like that just helps get likes and clicks. But if we really want to heal and be like other communities that don't have the same historical events that happen to our communities, then how are we going to change it? So if we compare to Layla and these different cultures, some of them are minorities, so they have their own struggle. But we can't forget that there's certain communities we're behind several hundred years. So we're going to compare ourselves to other cultures that don't have certain things that happen. That's the part that kind of gets me, because sometimes there's another woman who's a femininity expert on here, and she was saying you really need to be mindful who you follow. So when we take advice that we don't want to work with certain groups of people or work with the man, why is that? We don't have extended families. We don't have the luxury to have compounds or have houses next to each other. Majority of Black families, they live in different states. They have booty goons and, I mean, inappropriate people. You have substance abuse. You have people in the system. So there's a lot of challenges we have. So if you want to compare apples to oranges, we're always going to be like, that's why we're not like XYZ people. And so for me, I know for me, I'm an ambitious person, and I know there's a consequence. There has to be a thing. And I don't want to go to a different state if my man gets a job in New York. I want it to be vice versa. So I'm willing to be the breadwinner. I'm willing to pay the cost. But some women, they're traditional feminine women. And I believe we need women like that. We need different types of women that want to be traditional stay-at-home mothers, and there's nothing wrong with that. And I just want to hear more conversation when we don't make the other the wrong one. So if you want to
Okay.
not work with a man, that's fine.
Okay, Shameless. Everything you just said doesn't negate the fact of what we're saying. Again, you made it personal to you. You said in your sphere. Your sphere is not the majority. And I'm gonna say one thing that I'm gonna let Zaria talk. First of all, Shameless, you know that, and I just said this like the other night. You know that in our culture, no man is gonna ask for at least a woman in our culture's hand in marriage. You're not going to go to her father and ask for her hand in marriage and be in front of her family and be making $40,000 and not have anything going on for yourself and be accepted. So that's number one. You know that to be a fact. We're not going to argue about that. Number two, you said I don't see a lot of conversations about all these other women. Okay, so you be on TikTok, you be on social media. Is it more women talking about how much money a man needs to make for them to be qualified to date them, and more women talking about the downfalls of men and how these men are broke, they dusty, they this, that, and the third? I think we can agree, whether you want to acknowledge it or not, I think we can agree that it's way more of those women on social media and going on these different platforms and going on these different podcasts. And I've told you this before. Y'all like to make it seem like, well, that's just social media. No, these are real people. These are real women that are talking. These are real women that nobody on this panel, we don't know any of them because they are the average everyday woman. They're not some celebrity or somebody that got notoriety for something that's up here saying these things. No, this is the girl that works at Starbucks. This is the girl that's, at Target and Walmart stocking the shelves right now until 7 a.m. They are telling you what they want. They are telling you what they desire out of men. So you just need to accept that most women want a certain thing and realize and acknowledge that you may not be a part of them, but this is what it is. Because what's interesting to me is that when all you women say, well, all these women are saying the same thing, like there has to be some truth to it, right? So how come when all the men are saying, a lot of the men are saying the same thing, why does it get disregarded? Do you do
Doesn't
you
get
have
disregarded. I said several times. I'm not when I say I'm not saying I said what you're saying is accurate. I'm just saying it hurts that a few are speaking to the ones that are healthy. That's what I'm saying. My point is
well,
it would
okay.
be nice to address the ones that are there already, like Tammo Hunt. She was previously married. Gail is married, and she wants to have more children when time allots and things like that. It would be nice to show appreciation to the women who are doing what you men are asking, because it seems like we're giving positive reinforcement to negative habits.
Okay, so what I'm gonna tell you to do is all these women, all the women that are in your sphere, tell them to start getting on the internet and putting this
I,
message out. So
I
because
am, and I do it on my own platform. I'm walking the
okay,
walk.
again,
That's
you
what I'm
do it
saying.
on yours. Everything is coming back to you. It's not about you. Tell all the other women
They
there's as
are
many
women. That's what I'm
since
saying. There are
so
women.
since there are as many women that are in your sphere as the women that are in the other sphere, tell them today, make a TikTok today, because hopefully it can go viral. Tell them to start getting on the internet and saying like, man, don't worry that you make $40,000 right now. I'm gonna be there with you. Just give me a plan, and we're gonna work. We're gonna have you on an upward trajectory, and I'm gonna stay down with you for like 5 to 10 years, and see where it goes.
But my question is, why do you
I'm
get
dating on
upset?
potential. I'm dating on
But you get
unpromised potential.
upset when I bring a
I'm
valid
dating on
point.
unpromised potential, but
You're
I'm gonna
saying
be
that
there.
I'm
I'm
saying
gonna
you're
ride with
wrong,
you, and
but
I'm gonna hold you down.
you're not owning. You're also dismissing my point of view. You're
I'm
saying
not
I
dismissing
never.
your point of view. I've never said those women don't exist. My whole point is that those women are nowhere near the other women, and that's what you're not trying to acknowledge.
I'm not saying that. I just said they're exceptional. So if the exceptional people are rare, I'm not saying that. I'm already agreeing with you. I'm saying a majority of content creators, not all, majority of them speak to the ones of the problematic behavior that you're talking about. But I'm saying it would be helpful that the ones that are already doing, we show some shine. But when I hear you say, you're like, I don't want
No,
to do that. I just want to focus
it's
on,
gonna be no.
the
We
key,
need to
the
talk.
ones, the key lolos in our
No,
community.
we need to talk. We need to talk to the women that are in Zaria's and I's age range. We need to talk to the women that don't have this mindset already, to let them know that they are not going to be successful having this mindset.
Right.
They're seeing
There's no
all these
reason to
women.
talk about the
So
ones that are
we
working.
need
You
to
got to talk
focus.
about the ones that don't
We
work to
need to
fix it.
focus more on the women that are being brainwashed to think that they're gonna have these certain qualifications that are not justified, and that they're gonna be out here moving a certain way and they're gonna get a certain result. No, we need to focus more on those women that are brainwashed and
Yeah.
save them, and not the other. That's what we need to do. Do you have any rebuttal that you want to give to that before I let
Yes,
Zaria speak?
yes. I feel what you're saying about speaking to Generation Y or Z. I'm not sure which one. I know you're from Z or Y. Um,
What
but
I don't know. Whatever
I don't
25
know,
is.
but you're right, right. So my thing is this: when we think about certain rap songstress that have a certain highly seductive music, right? They kind of inspire when specifically younger children who don't have maybe an active caregiver to like say, oh, that's good for entertainment, but that's entertainment, sweetie. But I feel like a different point of view is if we are not, I'm not saying a majority of content should be this, but 20%, it would be nice that the ones who are doing what you're saying, you can see, these are the benefits when you do. You see, Gail, this is her life. She has peace in her life. Then those younger ones that are brainwashed, they're going to see the proof is in the pudding. So when you see successful people more and more than the ones that are doing dysfunction, that's less labor on the men arguing about, the women who are toxic. So when you bring that 20% of the Gales and the Tamara Hunt that actually have peace in their life, those younger women who are kind of discarded or in the purgatory where they can go either way, they're gonna be like, you know what, Gail does look peaceful. I didn't see that in my things. It's nice to see maybe every Friday her come on and things like that. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying you're the points you're talking about are wrong, because then I wouldn't engage. I usually block people when I feel like their content is so low vibrational and it's just not building. But I do feel that you have a very I would say, what's the word I'm looking for, what's the word when you don't take it personal, objective point of view.
Yeah.
So that's not my point, is to say what you're doing is wrong, but I'm just saying it would be nice for some content creators just a little bit to sprinkle the women that are already in our community, because we don't see those women a lot because they're
Okay,
exceptional.
shameless. When we have these discussions, the only reason that it turns into an argument is because you have Did You Ask Me, you have Noble, you have people like myself, and you have people like Gail who make content telling these women to not be a certain way, and that despite what these influencers and what they're saying in the music and what they're saying, you're not going to manifest that in real life to get what you want. They are fighting against it. And that is why this whole back and forth, that's why this whole back and forth happens in the first place, because they don't want to listen. That's how much they've been brainwashed. That's why you need people like me. You need people like Did You Ask Me? You need other people that are not on here trying to bash women, but are trying to lead. I have a younger sister, okay? You know I have a younger sister. I have to make sure that my younger sister knows that this nonsense that's on the internet and the nonsense that these girls be talking about, these girls that, you know, they're living out of a black garbage bag. They sleeping on one friend's couch one week, the next friend's couch the next week. They working at Walmart during the day. They stripping at the club at night, but they get on Instagram and put on a bikini and get all these likes and comments. I need to let her know what's really going on. Those are the women that need to be focused on, not the other ones. Because the other ones, the Gales, they're getting the results. They know what they already know what's up. So women like yourself, you need to start talking to these women as well. Because obviously there's a disconnect when the men are talking to these specific women, and this is the thing with black women. So when the black man is having these discussions, he's bashing women. He don't like women. He don't he you know he's homo. He's gay. He don't like his mom. He don't like his sister. But when people like Gail and other black women make the content that they make, they're pick me's and this, that, and the third. But one more thing, fellas, what's interesting to me is that all the women that get called pick me's, those are the women that are picked. Those are the women that are getting picked. Those are the women that are really out here in healthy relationships. They getting married. All the ones that's calling them pick me's, those are the ones that's single, they miserable, they lonely, single mothers, they getting bust down, they getting dogged out. So I just want to put that out there. Did you ask
There's
me?
a
Did you
reason
want
why they
to?
there's a reason why they call pick me's. I mean, let's be honest. I'm gonna go back to my mom again, but she'll tell me all the time, like, you know, they can call me a pick me or whatever, because she tries to make her social media account and they blocked her like twice on it. So yeah, she's like, oh, I'm gonna make some more videos trying to tell these young women how they're doing wrong and all of that and yada yada. It's like they can call me a pick me all they want to, but it's just the right way of doing things. Like that's how you find the man that wants to be with you.
Go ahead, Zaria. Thank you for waiting.
I don't really even remember what the question was. So I've just been listening,
Sorry,
but
I'm like you. I'm like, what's going on? What we
I
talking
don't
about now?
remember. I'm sorry,
Yeah,
y'all.
we
I'm
had
like
gotten to a
double
little
talking
back
on my
and forth. Okay,
computer.
let me go on to the next question for Shameless and Gail. Okay, so Shameless and Gail, do you think there are any legitimate reasons to withhold sex from your partner?
Yes, you have a STI, you have a UTI, you know, you have lesions. It's just a physical pain. So it's not going to be pleasurable for both people. Um, unless you have a spiritual practice where they usually want the women to go somewhere when they're having their moon time. But aside from that, I don't believe of what's the word, taking it away because you have an argument.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe it like that. But it has to be like a religious or spiritual reason and health wise.
Okay. What about you, Gail?
Um, Honestly, no, and that's just how I was raised. So my mom is from India. My dad's black, so I was raised with mostly a Hindu traditional upbringing. And it kind of goes back to what I said before. If it's that time of month, if there's been a death in the family, if I'm sick, if the kids are screaming and now's not a good time, my husband won't ask me. He
Right.
only asks me usually if he knows I'm going to say yes. And so, with that being said, I don't think there's any reason for me to withhold because he has never asked me or we have never engaged in that, whether he initiates or I initiate, when either of us don't want to. We're usually very mindful of each other. If I know he's tired from work, if I know he's had a bad day or whatever, I know not to ask. Same with me. So, with that being said, the rest of the time, no, I don't think there's a reason to withhold it. It's not how I was raised.
Okay. So next question is, do you think not being satisfied sexually is a legit reason to exit a relationship? And before you speak, Shameless, so I was saying earlier, you know, especially in a black community, you know, they love, I say when people be single, they be at the gym, men and women, they be at the gym a lot more consistently. They want to make sure that they looking good, make sure their health is right. And then they get in a relationship now. So now they have someone to like consistently go on dates with, take trips with, they have someone to consistently have sex with. And all of a sudden, sometimes people start letting themselves go. And, in our community, people be like, oh man, that's that relationship weight. That's that happy weight. You know what I mean? And I listen, I don't believe in that. I don't think I like you don't have people don't have to be physical specimen out here, but I don't think that people should be just totally letting themselves go just because they're in a relationship with someone. And I think when people let themselves go, I think there's a lot of times in relationships and marriages where people do not find their partner to be physically attractive. And you have some people that'll tell their partner in the most respectful way, like you kind of like losing yourself right now, like, so we got to get back on track. We got to start going to the gym together. We got to start changing our diet these next 9 to 12, 12 to 15 weeks. And then you have other people that just aren't going to tell their partner at all, and they're just going to suffer from not being physically attracted to their partner. They're not going to want to, and because they're not physically attracted to their partner, they're not going to want to sleep with their partner, right? So now they're either going to just like either be having a lot less sex, and the sex that they do have isn't going to be enjoyable, or they're not going to have sex at all, or they're gonna step out on their partner. So what do you have to say as far as not being satisfied sexually? Do you think that's a legitimate reason to leave? And I also want you to touch on the like, happy weight thing too.
Well, I'll be honest. Intimacy is consensual. So if a man or woman naturally doesn't feel attracted to their person, I would respect them to end the relationship. I'm not saying I want them to, but
Right
I'd
away.
rather do that than to have a affair.
Right.
That's hurtful, because you can always get back together a year or two, and
But are you
and
saying they should end it right away?
if the person has said, like you said earlier, gave lovingly, nudges and talks, and the person is not ready to do the work, yes. But if it just happened 5 days ago, you're not attracted to your partner, I wouldn't say go to the courthouse because it happened 5 days ago. I feel 90 days is good. As long as you give a full month, whatever the probational period is for most employers, give that enough for your relationship as well, because then it shows that you made effort, and that person just probably has some emotional stuff that's up to them to figure out. But then I'd rather people end relationships than to have affairs. I think affairs, to me, it's a lack of discipline, in the sense that you don't want to have the uncomfortable truth. And I'd rather someone break up with me and then have a girlfriend and right the next day than for me to have that stain that my ex-partner cheated on me because I chose to, not be so disciplined with the food. I've been using the food to cope with some things that a therapist could probably help me process. I'm plus size and I've lost already, almost 40 pounds. So if I started a relationship some way and I gained it, I'm not going to be butthurt, in the sense that I can understand a partner not being happy with that, because again, that person liked me in a certain way and I'm not that now.
And vice versa.
Um, right, and vice versa. So even though it hurt my feelings personally, I'm still also objective to understand that's not fair. So if he gives me a certain amount of time and I'm not doing the work, he's probably going to be the person who got away. And I'm going to tell my girl, yeah, girl, I don't know if I'm going to be another one. I just wasn't ready or whatever. I think when men leave women or women leave men, when they see something and the partner's not getting the hint, I think it's more attractive when they let them go, because it lets you know that they respect you enough then to violate your trust to have emotional or worse intimate relations with another person, because you can always get back together if that respect is there, versus you breaking the trust because the person changed the conditions midway in the relationship. But I think it's fine, and I no, I think it's fine for them to end the relationship if you don't find your partner attractive, because what eventually you're going to step out, man or woman, because there's a lot of women I'm starting to see on social media that I didn't know existed, But there's a lot of, I don't know, it's kind of crazy. I don't know what's going on, but there's a lot of women now that are able to do that, and you wouldn't even see it because they don't have that kind of archetype that they look like that. But there's a lot of women now that are kind of like that, which is unfortunate.
Okay, so before I go on to Gail, so do you think that it's important for people to keep themselves up even when they're in a relationship? You're on mute.
Are you talking to me or Gil?
Yeah, I'm talking to you. Do you think it's important for
Oh,
people to keep up their physical appearance even when they get in a relationship?
of course. How you stay ready. And again, the most successful people that I see, and I don't know what goes behind closed doors, there's that level of maintenance. They celebrate things. They celebrate going out on dates. And most likely they probably grew up in a household where that foundation was shown, so they know the blueprint already. But yeah, when you maintain yourself, I think that's very important. And also too, um, the other thing too, when people let themselves go, because I hear that a lot, like, I already got you now, and then they start taking the wigs off at home and things like that. I made a rule when I would get married, because not my last, but the relationship that was the most serious, that person never saw me do certain things. And I believe when people get married, and it's common in our culture where the man and the woman have a separate bedroom, sometimes they don't sleep in it, but it's their space. I believe there's some mystery that is very important to keep that little spark in a relationship. So don't let them see you do number two. They can see you put on makeup, but don't let that be an everyday occurrence. I don't know. I just feel like if we keep that kind of nervous energy that we want to impress our partner, like we do the first 3 months in a relationship, a lot of these conversations that we see on TikTok won't probably be a issue.
Okay, I'm going to respectfully disagree. Like, bro, like we're human
Completely disagree.
beings at the end of the day. Okay, like, listen, I know Zaria and I are the youngest people on here. Like, listen, I'm at a point in my life now. Like, I don't care how attractive like a woman is to me. Like, I know she gets a period. Like, I know she may take a shit once a day. Like, um, I don't know. I don't know. I know that she may not wear makeup. I'm old enough now. Had enough experience with women that I know she's not gonna look the same on in the face when she's completely dolled up versus when she's
Right.
not. Okay, like, so the whole don't let them see you taking a number two, like, that's why we got air freshener, things like that. And it's not like how often is someone gonna be taking a shit and somebody in a bathroom like doing something else, like,
Right.
uh,
I think that's all right for high school dating and stuff like that. But when it comes to serious relationships and marriage, that's the type of stuff. And for me, I'm not gonna speak for all men, but for me, I would want to know those things. Like, I would want to know, when your menstrual cycle is, so I can know if you need some pads or some tampons or whatever you need, or whatever I can do for you. You need me to warm up a bottle of warm water for your cramps, that type of stuff. I'm the type of person that wants to know you deeply so I can help you in, those certain little ways that just, you might not think of in that time. I might, I might think of certain positions that you can sit in that makes your cramps feel a little better or whatever, just stuff like that. It's just
Bert,
When
cut
I
it
say
out.
something, I said a little mystery. So to each person is different. So what I'm saying, I'm not, you can see your woman's moon cycle, but I've studied, and there's people who've been happily married, and they say when their man comes home in the driveway, they quickly go to that mirror that's on the first floor, and they spruce up, they put a little lipstick, and that there's certain things that their man don't see them. And this is what successful 10 plus year married happily couples do. Now that's not for you. I get that, but it doesn't mean like it's superficial and is immature. I just feel like how you got the relationship is how you're going to keep the spark. So if you do a certain thing to attract your partner, why stop doing it because you've been together for X amount of years?
Okay. How much more vulnerable is it than exposing your naked body to someone, having someone go inside of you, exchanging germs with somebody, like licking on parts of their body, sucking on parts of their body. Like if you doing all of that, but you's talking about I don't want them to see me in this certain manner, like bro, what y'all? I don't know. Yeah,
Well,
listen,
I'm not
hey,
saying I'm afraid. I'm not saying it's afraid. I'm just saying there's certain things that I want to keep to my, keep to mystery, and it's to each his own. But there's like S workers, right? And there's certain people that are all up in their anatomy, right? But there's certain things you don't know about. There's those S workers too, so there's still mystery. So, majority of the time, those intimate acts, people turn the lights off. So just because you know someone's anatomy doesn't mean like there's it's all about a spectrum. I'm not saying to go to extreme. Like when you feel like there's still some things you don't know about your partner, either mentally, like they might be learning a language at a junior college while you're playing ball with your homie, and then you go on some vacation, they say something like, oh, when did you learn French? That's a version of keeping a little bit of a mystery. So it's not about
no, I
hiding
don't
certain
want any
things of you.
mystery, and that's
Okay.
cool. That's cool. Like again, to each his own. I don't want any mystery. Like you supposed to be my wife. You
The only mystery
supposed to be the
there
mother.
should be is maybe like one day you sprucing up and putting rose petals on the floor or something. I feel like that's the only spontaneity mystery. I don't want to find out nothing super new after like marrying
You're the
somebody. Like
mother of
I
my
want to
kids.
know. Yeah,
We
like
live together. You're the mother of my kids. We live
Man,
together.
Zaria, are you in Georgia?
yeah, but I'm moving because Atlanta is a hot ghetto mess.
Hey, I didn't say Atlanta. I said Georgia.
Yeah, I'm in Georgia.
Gail, Gail, please unmute Gail. What you? I mean, first, Gail, I want you to address the question to reiterate the question. As far as like, do you think it's okay for people to? Do you think being unsatisfied sexually is a legitimate reason to exit a relationship? I would like you to speak on keeping themselves together. When they're in relationships, and you can touch on anything else you heard anyone say.
Oh, okay. So as far as people letting themselves go, I will start there. I think a lot of women, either they don't know or they don't care, know that men are visual and always have been. Men like a nice silhouette. And just because you have him, that doesn't mean all of a sudden, his basic biological instincts have changed. So I would say in a relationship, even in a marriage, you have to stay competitive. Even after all these years of marriage with my husband, I see every single woman as a threat. Every single one. And
Wow.
so I need to compete to keep him and I told him this on our wedding day. I was like, baby, just because you married me, all of a sudden, I'm not going to act like you're blind. Just because I'm your wife and I have your last name, that doesn't mean all of a sudden every woman in the world is not ugly. I think a lot of people lose that competitive edge when they get in relationships. They get comfortable. And a lot of times I have seen, and these are people I've talked to on my YouTube channel, a lot of subscribers, a lot of men, they check out after a while. A lot of men will just stay. Men rarely leave. Women file for divorce 80% of the time. So men will stay and be unattracted for so long. So when that man, and you guys can disagree with me, when he does decide to finally cheat, I don't want to say I would look at it as my fault. I guess I'll use the example of me
Preach.
and my husband. If my husband cheats on me, he has been dying inside for 6 months plus. What am I, just not paying attention to him? Do I not see when he comes home, he's not looking at me, he's not touching me, he never smiles, he doesn't care to hear my voice anymore, he doesn't want to know how my day went. So all of a sudden now, when he cheats after 6 months of being checked out, and this can be for whatever reason, whether he's not sexually attracted to me anymore, whether I've just been a bitch the last year, whether I haven't been respecting him, whatever, men give signals. And I think as a woman, you have to be so absent from your relationship or marriage to not see that your man is on the verge of sleeping with another woman. Now, you guys can disagree with me, but that is just how I was raised. I watch my husband, I watch his cues. Is he depressed? Is he pissed off? Whatever. Baby, do you need to talk about this? Is this something that needs to be settled? Did I do something that pissed you off that I need to work on? And a lot of times, women just don't ask. And I'm not talking about any of the ladies on the panel. I'm talking about just women in and men in those sexless marriages. They don't seem to care what is going through their husband's mind, and they wait till after the shoe have dropped, after he has cheated, to say, well, now I need to divorce him and take half his shit.
Or sometimes they'll cheat and say it was him that made her feel like she was inadequate or some other thing.
Also, Zaria, do you want to approve or disprove of anything that Gail just said, and then we can go to Shameless.
Can you hear me? I don't
Yeah.
know why my phone is acting crazy. I don't really disprove. Now, when it comes to competition, I think it's fair to be very clear that like I don't mind being like, like of course not being complacent, but I also am not really the type of person that's gonna like fight all the girls on the street. I expect my men to have respect for me in the sense of like if even if a girl does do something like in front of me, he should be like, you know, using his discretion and being like, this is my girl, my wife right here. I'm not really a competitive person when it comes to like, you know, being combative with other people over my husband or my boyfriend type of person. But other than that, I am
Not a
not.
cheater. Not a cheater.
Zaria, let me ask you a question. So, okay, so I just want to, and I want to hear the answers from all three of the women on here. So listen, if I have a girl, right, and I don't we don't even gotta be at a pool or a beach or whatever. Wherever we at, okay. I have a girl, and we sitting down somewhere, and these, I don't know, three very attractive, very beautiful, big woody girls walk by. Like, we kind of like see them coming. Am I? Do you want ideally? Do you want your man, like, as they're walking by? Do you want him to like do a little glance, or do you want him to like keep looking either straight or like keep looking at you? Like Zaria would like when it comes to the so when it comes to like looking at, because like Gail said, and this goes both ways, like, not because you get into a relationship with someone, not because you get married to someone, that doesn't mean other people aren't attractive anymore. That doesn't mean that you just not gonna look at, like, people look at people every day. Like, people work with people every day, and they still look at them every single day. So all I'm trying to say is, if you can look but don't touch. Yeah, okay, that's what I'm trying to figure out. But some girls don't even want you looking. Some men don't even want you looking. Like, there is men out here that, like, we could be in a group. If a man crack a joke, you better not even laugh at the joke that he cracks. Like, there's men and women out here like that. So do y'all have a problem with men looking? If you don't have a problem, do you have a problem with men saying, like, oh, she got a nice shape? Or obviously ain't no touching going on, but like, where do you guys stand on that? Go ahead, Zaria. You can start first.
I'm pretty confident in like who I am. I don't really ever have issues like that. And 9 times out of 10, like I admire people's beauty as well. Like I probably seen the girl before he seen the girl type of person. Now I'm not about to like I know the girls on TikTok would be like, me and my man look at fat, together. Like
Right,
I'm
exactly.
not like
Right.
I'm also not being like coercing it, but like I don't looking is not that doesn't hurt my confidence or hurt my type of I think beauty is beauty. Like if I see attractive people, man, woman, even I just always like you can glance, but I think it's a level of disrespect it gets when like some men, like even me, as a woman. I have been in grocery stores. I have been like other places, and they will have a man like whole body like turn around. It's like, I pray that's your sister because that was so rude. Like, I hope that's your
That's
sister, your
Atlanta.
mom, something like so rude. And I have seen
Atlanta.
that. Like, I've even seen guys like separate from their girl with their baby like in stores because like they didn't know I saw them first and try to like come down the aisle. Like, I have seen that. That is like ultimate disrespect. Like,
Nah.
absolutely
That's
terrible.
See me, I couldn't do that. I'm the type of person like if I'm really with you and I really care for you and whatnot, I will like I of course I'm a man. I know when another woman is beautiful if she got a big
right.
butt or something. So
Right. Right.
I'll intentionally like look down or look away or avoid being
Okay.
around that person because I care about you so much. I don't want to even see that person like, oh well, yeah, that's turning me on, and I don't want you to catch me looking at that person like that because I know that's gonna make you feel some type of way. I'm just not that type of person, so I will avoid. I like purposely avoid being around any type of situation like that.
Okay. And before I move on to Gail, I want to because I've had I had this conversation briefly before. I'm sorry. I want you to answer this, and then I'll go to Gail. When it comes to social media, I had a woman tell me that it's kind of like disrespectful and wrong for a man to be on social media. Like Instagram, for example, is an app where they post photos on there. It's kind of disrespectful and wrong for him to be like, so let's say a guy's girlfriend or his woman isn't the thickest woman, right? She don't got the biggest booty. She don't got the biggest titties in the world, but he's on Instagram and these women that got these, Coke bottle shapes, he's double tapping all them pictures. He double tapping these bikini pictures and stuff like that. She told me that if you're in a relationship with a woman, that's kind of wrong and disrespectful, and that can kind of make her feel insecure. And obviously, everyone doesn't go as far as to like try to be monitoring what their significant other is engaging with on social media. But what are your thoughts on that, Zaria? So if you're in a relationship with a guy and it don't even because like Zaria, you look good. Like you a thick girl, but like would you have a problem with a man like on the internet, like if he on the gram and he double tapping all these girls in the city or whatever that like look just as good as you or may even have a more like better figure than you. What are your thoughts on that? On your man engaging with certain type of, would that make you feel insecure?
First of all, comparison is the thief of joy. I do not compare myself to girls. I don't really have that whole like, oh my gosh, he's prettier than me. So him liking pictures is more offensive. So that's one. But I will say it's a certain like I really when it comes to social media, I don't know because I'm not really like I don't like pictures of guys. I don't unless like they're my friends. And I
Right.
feel like it really
Like
gets a little messy when guys will like follow all the Instagram baddies and all the whatever and even like they'll still be following girls that they've had intimate it's situationships or hookups, whatever you want to call it. And I think that's when it gets disrespectful. But as far as like liking pictures on Instagram, I honestly I probably wouldn't even see it if he is doing it because I
you're not that
like I'm not even looking at his phone and
right. Not
trying
that
to figure
invested.
out, oh my God, you liking half naked pictures. Like that stuff is so normalized to
Right.
like the general pop now that it's
Right.
like you can't even, especially in Atlanta, you even every grocery store, mall, it's girls with BBLs that half naked. Like whether he liking it on Instagram or in person, it's gonna be something seen. And also guys, like from my last relationship, guys have these group chats. I don't know if y'all do, but like my ex-boyfriend, he was he had group chats where his friends is sending pictures.
Girl.
They when I first met him, that's how he found me. Like they send pictures and be like, "Oh, this girl's so cute." Not everybody like liking her picture and sending it around. Like I feel like the group chats is the devil. The group chats is where people get
look,
caught up.
look. I never listen. I never
They
my
were
listen.
sending girls only fans in these group chats. It's like, what is going on? Like
Nah,
people in this group chat is married, each is profiles, all type of stuff. And y'all is over here sending only fans, screenshotting videos, putting them in a group chats. Like, Crazy
Yeah,
stuff.
no, that's definitely a real thing that happens. Like honestly, whether y'all want to believe me or not, I never been a part of I never been a part of no group chat where like the guys was doing stuff like that. Now I have had especially one of the homies like when we was in college and stuff, and this like before I actually ever got on Instagram and stuff. He was definitely like a screen like guy that was taking a screenshot and sending it like, look at this person, like, but yeah, that definitely that group chat stuff that definitely does happen. Um, Gail, Gail, what is your and Gail, you got kids too, man. So I'm interested to hear from you. What is your thoughts on the the looking at other women and what is your thoughts on social media as well?
Yeah, as far as looking at other women, my husband is so funny. So when he sees an attractive woman walk by, he will put his head down just automatically. Like I am right there with him out of respect. Thank you. But he does that out of respect for me. Like I said before, just because he's my husband, I know there's attractive women out there. He's a man, he's visual. He sees something, he's going to stare at it. I completely understand. But out of respect for me, he puts his head, he just stares at the concrete. So that is fine with me. Um as far as social
Exactly
media,
what I said.
as far as social media, I so in my home, the only social media I have is YouTube, and I recently made this TikTok.
Hmm.
That's it. My
Hmm.
husband does not have social media. If he misses his family or his army buddies or friends from high school, he picks up the phone and calls. So he doesn't really use social media for that connection. But I think on a macro level, we need to look at social media for what it is right now in 2022. It's a dating site, it's a
Facts.
dating app. So
Facts.
as much as yes, the ladies on the panel, whoever, you can join to keep in contact with your cousin in Detroit, but that's not what the majority of people are using it for. So if me as a married woman and my husband and I, we sit down and have a conversation, these are our rules, these are our boundaries. We both know social media is used for dating, mostly booty pics, and everyone's usually sleeping with everyone. If he purposely goes and makes a social media account knowing all of those facts, then we're going to have a problem. Same with me. So I can't say just, a place of ignorance. Well, oh, I didn't know this was going to be on here. So for me, I look at it differently as a married woman. He's not on there. I'm not on there. The only thing I'm on is YouTube and TikTok because I'm a content creator. But
Right.
if it's just, to me, him making a social media platform for just the sole purpose of following or whatever and connecting as a husband who's supposed to be worried about me and the kids, I don't know what he's on there connecting for. So that is just my take on it. I know if you're dating, it's probably a little different, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah, and really quick, Gail, but what's kind of dangerous in today's day and age, Gail, is that like let's say a woman and vice versa, like your woman will have a man. They'll like let's say they're both on Instagram, for example. They're both following each other, and on Instagram, I think you can see. I think if people's pages are public, you can see who they're following and things of that nature. But like, so a woman will think that this is my man, this is account. But people be having burner accounts these days, Gil. People be having ghost accounts. Like people be having whole accounts that their significant other will not know about that they're using to like communicate with other people. So
Wow.
it's crazy out here. It's dangerous in these streets. I'm telling you. It's dangerous. So you just hope that your partner really that's really their only page. But people got burner accounts on here, man, and they doing all type of stuff on their burner accounts.
Yeah,
But yeah,
and I think that comes back too with this person that you're dating. Are you dating for fun? Or are you dating for marriage? Because if you're dating for marriage and you want to bulletproof your marriage, I think you need to keep things at bay that could be potential problems. To me, that could be a potential problem in a marriage. And so, like I said, it just goes back to why are you dating this person? If you're dating for fun, whatever. But if you're dating as a potential marriage, this person's going to be raising your children. He doesn't need to be looking at booty pics.
Hey, Shameless, go ahead, Shameless. You closing the show, Shameless. Go ahead. What's your take on this?
I believe it's disrespectful for like a man to have like if when he's married, because I don't recognize like boyfriend girlfriend. I just me, and I respect other people who do. But when you're married, and you're liking women who are in photos that are suggestive, to me that's disrespectful, and I would discuss those boundaries before I got married to someone, so they don't feel like there's a switch up. And a lot of men, they don't feel like that's reasonable, so I wouldn't be compatible to for a lot of men. But I feel like if you are a person that in real life you have a you get irked by men looking at women in a desirable way, that's something to discuss. And don't get what's the word I'm looking for, dissuaded by somebody saying, oh, you're tripping, I'm visual. If you know for you that boundary is not for ideal, you feel disrespected when a man looks at other women, discuss that. And if they're unable to do that, don't whine and complain when you're married. But for me, I wouldn't like that, because when I'm in a relationship, I don't have that like I can see a person who's beautiful, but they're a painting that should stay at the museum. I don't feel called to ask the dealer how much is that painting, because I want to take it home. So for me, when I have blinders when I'm in a relationship, and I know there's men, not a lot of them, but there are men who have that same ideal. So for me, it'll be a deal breaker for him to be liking IG models or women who are in suggestive bikini photos. To me, I find that very disrespectful. And that's that.
Okay, so okay, that's the social media. But what is your where do you stand on like looking?
Looking, well, if you see anything extreme, you're gonna look. So it just depends how they look. If they look because a woman's passed by, she's walking, say we're walking one way and the other woman is walking the opposite direction, so they pass and he looks, but he still makes an effort consistent to turn his shoulder back to continue seeing her walk away, that's a challenge. But if you're at the airport and you're both in line, you see someone who has an exceptional, thing you don't see all the time, that's fine. But if it's prolonged staring, that's disrespectful.
So he could do a little, a little glance, but don't be trying
Yeah,
to
because
like
I can't
do
fault someone doing something I do. So if I look at men and women, they're attractive. I'm not, I don't have any lustful intentions, but they put more effort in their appearance, so they get more attention than the average person. I can't fault him, and he's a man and he is actually attracted to women. The fault. But when it's prolonged, that's a challenge.
Okay. Hey, Shameless, please, I'm gonna have everybody give their closing words. Please. Listen, guys, thank you so much. Listen, thank you to everyone that participated. Listen, thank you to everyone that's here right now. Thank you to everyone that been here throughout the night. Thank you to everyone that was on the panel. Shout out to Alex earlier. Shout out to 760 breaks. Shout out to Joker. Shout out to Kev. Shout out to Miss Tanique. Shameless, I always appreciate you being here. I always appreciate you supporting me on here, even though we disagree and we don't see eye on a lot of things. Gil, I listen, bro. Y'all need to go on my page and watch the video that I posted of me and Gil from last night. Gil, thank you for coming back. Nice to see you again. Did you ask him? Thank you for being here tonight, brother. Nice to meet you. I appreciate all your perspective. I didn't really disagree with a lot of things that you said, but going forward, you're always welcome here, brother. Shameless, go ahead and give your closing words.
Well, what I will say is this, some of the people in the box, I'm new to you, so obviously you're new to me as well. I have a different viewpoint because, I'm neurodivergent, and I won't go too much of like other stuff, but it's common that a lot of people don't agree with me. Now, but the challenge is for me is I'm okay with people disagreeing with me. It's just if it gets disrespectful, that's my challenge. So Noble, and I think that's pretty much it, because I've kind of just, lost hope with a lot of Black TikTok because there's a lack of accepting different points of view. So Noble is one of the few people that I get on lives. Usually I only do my own lives because I don't like how people talk to me. You're not going to talk to me like some peasant and have people in the comments be disrespectful. But Noble, which was very interesting, I was kind of taken aback because I was on his feed and I saw his content and he gave me DJ Academic vibes. And then, I saw him in another live stream and he was very pleasant. So I was like, okay, let me give it a try. So yeah, so I appreciate the people in the box. We have different points of view, but we were all respectful, and that's about it.
Thank you, Shameless. Hey, Gail, go ahead, give your closing words, Gail.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I like the perspective of your lives, and I like all the people that get on the panel. I like learning and growing and learning, so that was good. I know my perspective can be a little strange. I come from a different country, a different upbringing, um, and I do have kind of a traditional dynamic in my life, so my perspective might sound a little weird, but like Shameless said, everybody was respectful. So thank you guys so much for having me here.
Yeah, and like to speak on before I let Did You Ask and speak. Listen, I don't foster a negative environment here. I'm here to have respectful, constructive, productive conversations. I'm one I like Shameless was saying, and that's why I don't really go on other people's platforms either. Some people is on here to like spread propaganda, and they really don't want to. They really don't want to hear other people that have a difference of opinion. And when people do have a difference of opinion, they want to try to make it seem like something is wrong with them. They want to assassinate their character. They want to judge them. They want to just do all this unnecessary stuff. So that's why me personally too, I don't really go on other people's platforms either. But I have an open platform. I'll let people of all ethnicities, all nationalities, all ages, you can come up here and say what you want to say on whatever it is we're talking about, because it's not personal at the end of the day. Like, if I don't see eye to eye with you, if I don't agree with you, it's okay. Like, the sun gonna be yellow in the morning and the sky is gonna be blue. Like, it's okay. Um, Did You Ask him? Go ahead, brother. Give your last words.
Shout out to the traditional women, said by Melanin Bless in the comments. That's all I needed to say. It was great being on this live, though. You guys were all amazing. Gail, I followed you because you're dope. I want to see some more of your content.
All right, man. And we gonna
Thank you.
Gail, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
That's okay. I was just gonna say thank you.
Hey, and we out just like that. Okay. All of y'all have a great what day is it? Monday. All of y'all have a great Monday. Okay. I appreciate y'all. Y'all be good.